Fun.
That, folks, so despite the curfew, persons have found a way to party, and it's keeping the cops busy. This has even caused a member of the force to lose his life after he went to investigate. Head of the JCF's Corporate Communications Unit, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay, is with us now. Morning, Senior Superintendent. Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Thank you and good morning.
I hope all is well.
Well, under the circumstances, yes.
Fantastic. If I keep a party at my house, the party starts 12 midday, I have 75 people there, and it is over at 7 o'clock and everybody goes home. Is that illegal?
Yes, because the first thing is that you can have gathering at your home, but you have the numbers. So you keep a party now because they're not supposed to have parties of that magnitude. So if you have 75 people, clearly you're in breach because you have too many persons. And I think that's one of the mistake that persons are making. They believe that they can have a big event outside of the curfew hours. So they're of the view that if you do it before 9 o'clock, then you're not in breach.
What are the numbers? What are the numbers?
I think the numbers, I'm not so sure what the numbers for party. I know that at one point it was 50 and then it was revised. I need to double check that number because I think it was revised downwards and the numbers now are less.
Okay,
I need to double check that.
Sorry, just before Simone, so if I have that party, but I'm in the numbers, if I'm under 50, it's in my house, and that's not illegal.
Right, so if you have a gathering at your house and you have the numbers that are allowed under Disaster Risk Management Act, then you're not in breach.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we really need to know what those numbers are because that will be important for folks to plan. And to be able to work within the law. I want to think it's 15. I don't know why I think it's not more than that, Senior Sue, but I'm not sure.
That's the number that's in my head, but somehow I did not look back at the number, but I think the number is 15, but I'm going to try to get it as quickly as possible.
Right.
If I don't get it before I leave the interview, I will send it to you right after.
Yes, please,
so
and then we can advise. Right.
Yes.
So what a challenging time for the police force, eh? I mean, so many things to do. You're battling crime, you're tackling, but you have to be dealing with indiscipline on top of it, which is leading to, in some cases, death. I mean, how is the force strategizing to deal with what is just an unwillingness of some Jamaicans to comply?
We just have to continue to enforce the act as the measures allow us because one of the things that we find is that persons are, and we are seeing it increasing. So there was a time when we had good compliance. So it was very easy for us to maneuver and to work with the various persons to comply. Now we're seeing where persons are not applying for permit because the permit won't be granted. So they go ahead now and they keep these secret events. And that's where now we have seen where at least 3 events has resulted in deaths and mass casualty of persons who are patrons. Because there was a situation recently in Portmore where 11 persons were shot, 1 died. There was a similar incident at another illegal gathering in Westmoreland where 13 persons were shot, 3 died. We had the situation, albeit a little different, where a police officer was killed at an event that was not authorized. So we see that persons are trying to find various ways. So we are doing a lot of things. We police social media. We will get information from some cities where it's happening, but what we really want persons to understand that based on all the indication and the directives from the Prime Minister, it's important for us to comply now so we can keep the numbers down so that we can probably see a lifting of some of the restriction if we see better results in terms of the rate. So it's putting police officers at risk because we have to go into these events when we find out about them. To carry out policing functions, the fact that they're not applying for permit, these events are not being policed.
Why do I need a permit? I only need a permit if it's not in my home, right? So anywhere else I would need a permit?
Anywhere in your home. And if you're doing something at your house that you're going to, because in essence, you're not supposed to be having those events right now, but if you're having a gathering at your house, just a social gathering with family and close friends within the numbers, you don't really need a permit. Because we know that the KSAC, if you're doing something outside of that, then you have to go to the KSAC they are the ones who are authorized to grant that permit
Places of
during
amusement license.
Yeah.
So
during.
Sorry, Senior Soup, I was going to ask you. You said you've been policing social media because that's apparently the way people are using now to kind of spread the quote-unquote invitations. But in terms of the venues, what is the trend that you've been finding? I hear a lot of folks are going way out in areas that they think nobody will be able to find them. Is that what's happening?
That's what happens. So they are seeking, they have chosen some remote locations and they will do many things to distract. So you're not able to detect that there's an event, and they tend to keep the music low. So if you don't get a call, sometimes you don't know that something is happening. Now, for patrons who are going to these events, I want to speak to them because I want them to know that even attending these events, they are putting themselves at risk. A lot of the persons who were shot and injured in the previous incidents, these are people who are not in conflict with anyone. However, they happen to be in a space where criminals are occupying as well. Mm-hmm. So when you're there as a patron, remember, police not aware of it, so the event is not being policed. Criminals now are using these events to socialize and to integrate themselves with normal people. And then when they end up in a conflict, they just fire their guns. They are not mindful that they are innocent persons who are just persons attending to support an event. So it creates another layer of risk for persons who, under normal circumstances, we would be policing those events because we grant them and we're aware of them. That level of safety is not there.
Who gets in trouble for that? If I keep a party, I am over the limit, I have, say, it's 15 and I have 16 and Simone is there, who gets in trouble? I get in trouble, obviously because it's me keep the party. Can Simone, who is just a person who comes to my party, can she get in trouble too?
Yes, she can get in trouble.
Why?
Because she's aware that there is a Disaster Risk Management Act that prohibits persons from attending and engaging in these kind of events. So mere fact that you attend, and we have been prosecuting persons for attending, so of course we're going to prosecute the proprietor, the person who is hosting, but we are also going to prosecute the person who attend because
and prosecution is a fine?
Willingly.
SSB? Is that fine or is it something greater?
It depends on the court. I see where in the court they have been fining some persons. I know we had a situation where, and what we find is that a number of persons breaching these curfew orders. So they come down and the quarantine order as well. So they travel to Jamaica to attend an event with the intention to go to this event, and they may very well be affected and then they would want to leave. So I recall recently there was an incident in St. Mary where someone came down, was placed on quarantine, reached a quarantine order and went to an event and was charged and given a court date. The person did not attend court and attempted to leave the island. But what they don't know is that we work very close with our immigration partners. So you can't leave the island if you, and so the judge had issued a warrant for that individual. So when the person attempted to leave the country, they were arrested, the person was arrested at the airport because the warrant was there. So we want persons to know that we are taking this thing very seriously. So we want them to do it.
I want to follow up on that point about taking it very seriously. There was just a graphic up on our screen a while ago, and it's an issue I wanted to raise with you because there are some people who believe that the law is not being administered equally, and that the lawmen are holding more of the folks downtown accountable than the folks uptown. Now, I want to put it out there that I know this is an uptown, downtown, Middletown issue because parties are being held, large gatherings are being held everywhere. What say you, Senior Soup, to the folks who are saying, it's happening everywhere, but you all are only looking at one set of people?
And that's not so. I mean, it's everywhere. Once we are aware, because what happens is that sometimes we have to rely on the neighbors and the people who pass by and will see cars lined up at a particular location and notify us. Most of the time when you go there, based on how the act is designed, you go there now and you warn them to shut down. Once they shut down and they leave, then that's the end of it. You don't prosecute them unless you're going to prosecute under the Noise Abatement Act. Mm-hmm. But for the Disaster Risk Management Act, it says once you warn the person and they comply, then nothing else happens. It's when they refuse that you find that people will be prosecuted eventually. Either they're going to be charged then and there, or their information is taken and it's followed up by a summons to go to court. So I looked at some figures and we have prosecuted close to 3,000 persons to the end of October. We are still tabulating November because we know that we increased the numbers in November and the latter part of October, because more and more, I think persons are figuring out how is it that they can, quote unquote, beat the system.
Right.
So in their mind, they're beating the system.
Yeah.
So how the system beat them back now, Senior Soup, as we're heading to, you to talk about October figures, November figures. Final question from me. We're heading into December. You know, December, Jamaican people love to party. So what is your message? Are you trying to speak to folks who may know of people who are doing this to ask them to come forward? I mean, what is the strategy for dealing with what is sure to be an uptick in gatherings as we head into November and December?
All right, so for us in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, we are pretty much guided by the instructions that is placed by the Prime Minister through the Act. So when you listen to the different presentations, they are looking at what should happen in December. So whatever they lay down as the law, then we will be working towards it. What I would want to say to persons who, because we understand, and it's a fact that people want to get out there and party. So for us in the law enforcement community, it's not that we really want to oppress the people, but it is for us, we want to help the people to understand that we're just trying to keep them safe. If they were very smart, then what they would do is just to comply, wait, keep the spread down, because there from all indication, persons who are making decisions, persons who are putting the laws together are looking at the reality of how people look towards the festive season to ease some of the restrictions. However, you will also hear that if we're not seeing reduction in the numbers, because remember the purpose of these restrictions are to keep the numbers down, is to reduce the spread, is to prevent the interaction and the mass gathering, which the science and all the medical professionals are saying that if we can keep the distance, not have these gatherings, because invariable, you say wear a mask, but they are going there to have a drink and to eat food. So it's not practical in every sense that you're going to be at a setting like that in a mask constantly. You may enter the venue with a mask, but once you get into the venue, you are going to be interacting in a way that the mask might not be practical. So you have to bear those things in mind. So we will await the decisions of the lawmakers, and we will
Enforce based on that.
enforce according to what is laid down.
Thanks, Senior Soup. I was looking, and the last thing I see there was October 6th, and the numbers were 15. But I agree with you. I'm almost certain that the numbers went up since then. Thank you so much. I know one of these illegal parties, at one of these illegal parties, you lost your colleague, and we're very sorry for that. Condolences, ma'am. Very, very sorry for that.
And we hope the other
Thank you very
who was
much.
injured is also.
Yeah, and somebody else was injured, so we hope they're all right. Stay safe. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all you do, SSP. Please give our respect to your colleagues on the force.
All right. Head of JCF's Corporate Communications Unit, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay.
Tough time, man. Other side of the break, folks, a selector turning tables in a different field. We'll be back with that after this.